Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Cassie Riva. I'm the events coordinator at an Unlikely Story bookstore in Plainville, Massachusetts. Before we start, here's a couple technical tips. Any questions for R.L. Stine can be written in the question and answer box at the bottom of your screen. And if you'd like to buy any of R.L. Stine's books, click the green button at the bottom of your screen, and it's going to take you to our website. And when you purchase Garbage Pail Kids book number 2, Thrills and Chills, from us, you're going to receive an autographed book plate from R.L. Stine while supplies last. So when I was a kid, I was a reluctant reader, and the only books that I would read was the Goosebumps series. And I loved it so much that every weekend I would beg my mom to take me to Blockbuster, because that's what you did in the 90s. And they had the Goosebumps TV series on tape. And to this day, I am still terrified of puppets and Halloween masks that completely cover your face. So tonight, it's my honor to welcome best-selling author, short story writer, television producer, screenwriter, and executive editor R.L. Stine to our virtual stage. Bob Stine graduated from Ohio State University, where he was editor of the school's humor magazine for 3 years. After graduating, he went to work for Scholastic, writing for school magazines and then creating joke books. In 1986, Bob wrote his first teen horror novel, Blind Date, which became an instant bestseller. He then created the Fear Street series, which became the best-selling young adult series in history with more than 100 books. Goosebumps began in 1992 and made R.L. Stine a worldwide publishing celebrity. And the Goosebumps TV show was the #1 kids show in America for 3 years in a row. Bob continues to make Goosebumps books, and the new books are called Goosebumps Slappy World. Bob's other funny and scary book series include Rotten School, Mostly Ghostly, The Nightmare Room, and Dangerous Girls. Bob is working on several new projects, including a series of comic books for Marvel. Today, Bob has more than 400 million English language books in print, plus international editions in 32 languages, making him one of the most popular children's authors of all time. Tonight, we're celebrating the release of R.L. Stine's second installment in the pop culture phenomenon Garbage Pail Kids. If you're unfamiliar with the Garbage Pail Kids, it was a series of sticker trading cards produced by the Topps Company in 1985, designed to parody the popular Cabbage Patch Kids dolls. Bob has taken those classic trading cards and made it into a creepy illustrated middle grade series that's going to blow you away. And you guys are in for a real treat tonight, because not only are you getting to hear from R.L. Stine, but you're also getting to hear from international bestselling author of Diary of a Wimpy Kid series, Jeff Kinney. Bob, Jeff, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Get you back up on screen. Hi. Hello.
Hello.
I hear an echo.
Yeah.
Are we
That's
here?
okay.
Wait, you get a horrible echo.
Bob, can you make sure that you don't have Crowdcast open in more than one tab?
Okay.
But also, please make sure that you don't close out of this tab.
I don't know what to tell you.
All
This
right.
is too creepy for me.
Are you using Google Chrome as your browser?
I am.
Do you have any other tabs open?
What?
Ooh,
Maybe.
Now,
there you go.
I apologize for
That's
being
all right.
too creepy.
I thought it was an effect. I thought this is how you always do things.
Yeah, I always do that, right. So we can't talk. Yeah. Okay, that was a lovely introduction by Cassie. She forgot to mention that I make my own costumes. But, man, where was your introduction?
Oh,
What happened, Cassie? What happened to Jeff's introduction? That would
That's
be
all right.
another 20 minutes. We'd be done.
I've been introduced many times. Bob, thank you so much for doing this tonight. We're so excited to host you. Congratulations on publishing your second Garbage Pail Kids book. Before we talk about your series, I wanted to say this is the second time we've met. I've been in the room with you like 3 times, but this is a big honor for me. I really respect you. I look up to you. Your career has been amazing, and I aspire to a career like yours. So congratulations on everything you've done. It's just mind blowing how much how much work you've put out into the world. So,
Oh, thanks, Jeff. Thank you
This
very
one's
much. This a little too much niceness here.
okay, we'll
We
get
have
right
to
into
keep up. Yeah, the last time that I saw you,
Yeah.
you showed me the Goosebumps meme.
That's right.
I
Yes.
never forgot. I forgot that. You were the first to show me that horrible meme of that girl with Goosebumps.
You know, it's just a girl who likes your books and she's excited. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it at all.
I got
But
used to it.
let's talk about what you were like when you were that age. Were you a trading card collector? Was there a big trading card culture when you were a kid?
Baseball cards
Yeah,
and football cards.
yeah,
We used to flip for them. We used them for gambling.
yeah. So
Yeah,
was
just
there
gambling.
was
But
there
no,
ever a really rare card that you owned?
no, I don't have a rare card. I have no cards worth anything.
I see.
And I have no, we didn't have funny cards
Right,
when I
right,
was a kid. You know, when I was a kid, we didn't have books. We only had parchments.
right.
We had to unroll them when I was a kid.
That takes us way back.
Yeah.
Tell me how you got involved in writing the Garbage Pail Kids series. How did it start for you?
Well, they asked me.
Yeah.
That's
Who
how
was
everything starts, right?
Right.
We're at lunch, and they said, "Do you think you could make a book out of the Garbage Pail Kids, out of these ghastly, gruesome kids?
Yeah.
That's totally offensive kids." And I said, "Yeah, sure." I always say yes to everything.
Right.
Here I am doing Garbage Pail Kids.
So the Garbage Pail Kids really just started off as stickers, right? About 1985, Art
Right.
Spiegelman and some
Right.
others created these stickers of these really gross kids. Can you tell us some of the names of the kids on the cards?
Well, now I can tell you the names, but yeah, they started in '85, but they were very funny and
Yeah.
very offensive.
Yes.
And you know, early days, Art Spiegelman worked for Topps,
Yeah.
and he did a lot of the art on the early cards.
Oh, did he? Oh,
Artie,
wow.
yeah, which is pretty amazing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I went through the whole book. I had to decide. I decided I wanted to have 10 Garbage Pail Kids,
Yeah.
all living in the same house
Yeah.
with no parents. They don't know how they got there. They don't know who their parents are. They're just 10 kids trying to get along.
Yeah.
And I had to pick. So I went through the whole book of all the cards from the 80s. And it's amazing how many of them you couldn't do today.
Right. That was one of my questions. Are there
Yeah.
any that pop into your mind, or?
Oh
should
yeah,
we just not go there?
Jeff, you can't do anything today.
Right.
But no matter what you do, if you try to be funny, you offend somebody.
Right, right. But even the ones that you picked are pretty. They're pretty gross, right?
Yeah. But we're just so offensive back then,
Yeah.
in the 80s. That it's amazing to see how far we've come.
Yeah.
In some direction.
Yeah. I remember in the 80s that those cards were banned. And actually, you're in classrooms, and your books were sometimes banned in the 90s. Is that true?
Yeah. I was on the most banned list a lot.
Yeah.
People, well, no one had ever done a horror series for 7 to 12-year-olds before. And it was hard for a lot of parents to get used to it. And of course, the covers on the early Goosebumps books were much more ghastly than the stories.
Yeah.
They were a lot bolder than the stories.
Yeah.
So, but I had, and we were on the most banned list, but I had much less trouble than I expected doing a horror series for younger kids. We had real support from librarians and reading teachers and teachers. They were wonderful. I think they saw right away that it was getting kids to read.
Yeah.
And so despite the, disgusting content,
Right.
people always, come up to me now and say, I loved your books when I was a kid. And I always say, and you turned out okay.
Right. And I'm sure tonight you have a lot of people watching, a big crowd for us, about 463 people just in Crowdcast. I'm sure you've got a lot of Goosebumps readers, from the early days, looking in tonight, maybe with a few kids in their laps. What's that like to reconnect with?
Jeff, what I am to them. I'm
What's
nostalgia.
Yeah, no.
How would you like to be nostalgia? That's amazing, right?
Yeah, you were my childhood is what they say.
Yeah. That took a long time to get used to. I would do, I do a book signing back when we could do. You're the only one who can do book signings. No other author is out there. But we would. I do a book signing, and there'd be 7-year-olds and 10-year-olds and 15 and 25-year-olds and 30-year-olds.
Yeah.
I would always say, "What are you doing here? It took me a while. What are you doing here? We loved you when we were kids." I say, "Oh my God."
I've done that calculation for myself, and I'm like, okay, if a kid was 13, my books came out 14 years. I'm like, okay, they might marry young and start to have kids, and then my first, new generation will come in about 8 years from now. So.
Well, I feel so lucky. I've gotten to scare so many generations.
Yeah.
I'm really, but I do hate it. I have to say, when people come up and say, "My grandmother loves your books," I hate that.
That's hilarious. So let's talk some more about Garbage Pail Kids.
Yeah.
Is that one of the things that you do in the stories is you alternate between characters? So you seem to really like Adam Baum. He seems to be our most reliable narrator. Why is this a kid you gravitated to?
Adam Baum. Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
He was the most popular card.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He was the most popular card.
Yeah.
So I had to use him. And the thing is, he has a rather unique quality. He's sort of the leader.
Yeah.
But he gets very tense and he gets upset. And once a book, he explodes.
Yeah.
No, he just explodes all over the room.
Like bits and pieces.
They carry his pieces off. And that's it. And then somehow he comes back at the end of the book. But he explodes all the time. It's a horrible thing.
So you had to figure that out. You had to take these characters that really were just cards, and then kind of
try to give them personalities.
Yeah. Was he your favorite character to write for, or did you have others that were?
I like writing stupidity.
Yeah.
I like really dumb characters.
Yeah.
So Wacky Jackie is really very, very funny, and Handy Sandy is an inventor with horrible inventions that always go wrong and injure her in some way.
Right.
And I love writing Brainy Janie because she's unbelievably stupid.
I didn't realize she was stupid. I thought she was the smart one.
No, they all say she's so smart she can read books in the dark.
Right.
She's so smart she reads books without pictures.
I like
without
that.
Coloring them. These are the lines, But she's really incredibly dumb.
Right.
I love writing that.
Yeah. Was it fun? In this book, you introduced like 5 new characters all at once, who also call themselves the Garbage Pail Kids. Are they all legitimate Garbage Pail Kids?
Oh, they are. They are.
Yeah.
And he got to write, and real nasty Nancy's were really good. I didn't have anyone really nasty in the first book, so that was good. In the third book, I have other characters. I have Pat Splat.
Yeah. And
everything falls on him. That's why he has that name. And he's constantly being crushed. Prelims fall on him, and that's fun. I've done 3. I've done the third one.
Oh, you finished it already?
Yeah, summer camp.
Oh, that's cool.
Camp. Where else can you take them? I wonder.
Yeah.
Where else? What else can you do with them?
Most of the time, most of your books are in universes that you created yourself. What was it like this time to play in somebody else's sandbox?
Yeah, I've done it. It's a little bit harder.
Yeah.
It's so much easier when you're creating the world. Yeah. And but I've done it before. I did a series for Marvel comic books of Man-Thing, the Swamp Monster. Yeah. And I had to read what happened before and use those characters. So I've done it. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's fun. It's kind of fun. They give you a head start.
Yeah. And what's it like working with a company like Topps? Do they give a lot of feedback? Do they say you can't do
Oh,
this?
they've been great. They let me change the sex of 2 of the characters.
Yeah.
That's amazing. They've been unbelievable, and
Yeah.
they've been really helpful. Ira Friedman at Topps,
Yeah.
he's the garbage pail man, and he knows everything about them. He knows the characters, and he's just been terrific. He's been great. I mean, how many, let you change the sex of the characters?
Right. Yeah, I noticed that the drawings look awfully familiar. These look very authentic to the Garbage Pail Kids universe. Did you have any of the creators involved in the book?
Well, they hired the artists.
The original artists.
These are Topps artists. I think they're new. I don't think they were around in the old. Joe Simcoe did the cover, and they do a great job.
Yeah.
This stuff is really funny.
Yeah.
I have another character that I added in the book that interrupts the book a couple times. And I don't know if Topps is too happy about that or not. I had this character I wanted to put in. He's a superhero called Johnny Pants Fall Down.
Yeah.
And he's a wonderful superhero in a town called Pupik Falls.
Yeah.
And he goes out after criminals every night, and his pants fall down. Yes. And they always get away every episode.
Right.
I love that.
I really like reading about his sidekick too. Can you tell us about it?
The mighty hairball.
Right.
Right. Who's in one episode, his head gets stuck in a toilet. He's not, and he flies next to Johnny Pants Fall Down, but he gets airsick.
Right.
He's not a good sidekick. But I don't know. I just thought it'd be nice to interrupt the action with a couple, with some other characters.
I thought that was really fun. He gets his own show, a spin-off series, right? Yeah. And it's on the Sidekick channel. I really like that.
Thank you. That's good. They do audiobooks of these Garbage Pail Kids.
Yeah.
And Johnny Pants Fall Down in the audiobook is played by Murr from Impractical Jokers. Did you ever watch that show?
Yeah, that's cool.
I love these guys. It's one of my favorite shows, Impractical Jokers. And he's a friend of mine, James Murray. And
really?
He does the Johnny Pants Fall Down chapters in the audio. I don't know where he finds time. They're doing their 8th season of Impractical Jokers. But he does Johnny Pants Fall Down in the audiobook. That's
really funny. Now, you have to give him a message from me because my son is graduating high school. And I did Cameo, and we had a few celebrities say, good luck and everything like that to my son and his basketball team. And I'll tell you, Murr, he did like a 5-minute video where he climbs up on his roof in the snow, shoots a basket, falls off into the snow.
Oh, you're kidding.
That guy's got a fan for life in me because he really went all out. He did not.
No, I will tell him. I talk to him all the time.
That's really cool.
He's really one of the best people on earth.
That's awesome.
Actually, I gave a quote. This is not interesting to other people, but I gave a quote to. He also writes teen horror.
Oh, does he? That's cool.
He's got his 4th book came out, and I gave a quote to it. And I just got this entire fruit bouquet from him just a few minutes ago.
Wow!
A huge bouquet of fruit just for giving him a quote.
Wow!
No, who does that? Nobody does that.
Yeah. You better watch out. There might be a camera in there, and he might be in the fruit somewhere. He could be on the next episode.
He's a wonderful guy, and that show is hilarious. Makes me laugh more than anything.
That's really cool. My kids love that too.
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about Goosebumps for a moment. There are some people tuning in today who have read my books and your books, and they might not know that I did a parody of Goosebumps inside of the Wimpy Kid universe. With your blessing, thank you.
Yes, of course.
It's called Spine Ticklers, and it's written by I Am Spooky. And the thing about it is that in the book, I Am Spooky doesn't really exist, right? All the kids think that this guy is writing all these scary stories, but he's not, because how could somebody write that many books? And I think a lot of people didn't think that you might have thought you were a fictional creation.
Oh, they did. For years.
You wrote all those books, didn't you?
For years, they thought I was a committee.
Right.
They thought there were many people, working. And it was just me.
Jeez.
It was just, I don't know. How did I write that many books?
How did you? What was the fastest pace you ever wrote at?
I wrote a Fear Street novel in 8 days. Well, back in the day, I had to write a Goosebumps novel and a Fear Street novel every month.
Wow.
I had 2 series going. I had 2 weeks to write each one. I wrote 2 novels a month.
Yeah.
How did I do that?
I have no idea.
I was a lot younger.
Yeah.
I was younger.
Yeah.
And to be serious, I'd been writing for 20 years and nobody had noticed.
Yeah.
And I think to have that kind of success was so exhilarating.
Yeah.
It really kept me going. I didn't get out much. I was, I was in the apartment all the time, but somehow I did 2 books a month.
That's amazing.
That's
amazing. Yeah. Last night, I've written 21 books and not in over 14 years or something like that. And last night I tried to name them in order to my wife, and I struggled a little bit.
How could you name them?
Yeah, well, I was wondering how many Goosebumps you could name in order. I'm not actually asking you to do it.
No, don't ask me. I remember what titles. Every once in a while, I'll suggest a title for a book, and my wife will say, "Well, you already did that one." That happens every once in a while. I do remember titles, but I couldn't tell them to you in order. And I go into a classroom, I do school, and a kid raised his hand and said, "How big is Fear Island?" And Fear Island. I said, "It takes half an hour to walk it." Good answer, right? Yeah. I don't know what he was talking. People do ask me all the time on Instagram and Twitter about details in some of these books that were written 25 years ago.
Right. I think people are shocked to find that authors don't remember, that authors move on and don't really look back, don't look at their own.
No, you're supposed to know, and you're supposed to know where they can get your books in any country. I'm having trouble finding your books in El Salvador. Can you tell me where I can buy them? I get that all the time. I just write them. That's all I do. I don't do anything else. I don't know where they are.
Right. I've read that you never start without a title, though. So there must be a lot of titles that don't have stories.
Don't you do the same thing?
No, we share the same editor, Charlie, and he'll tell you I drive him nuts. I write all of the jokes in the book. I do all the work. And then I'm struggling with the title up until the point that the cover goes to the printing.
Oh, well, you and I are the opposite.
Yeah.
I can't start writing unless I know the title.
And so
if I have an idea
and
I can't think of a good title, I throw out the idea.
That's really interesting.
And now,
throw those to me. I'll take those unused stories.
Now I don't. People say, your most asked question: where do you get your ideas?
Sure.
I've done every story.
Yeah.
I don't try to think of ideas anymore. This is true.
Yeah.
I only think of titles.
That's really interesting.
I just try to think of a good title.
Yeah.
And the title, I don't know where the dog's going. We have a pandemic puppy. We've had him 10 days. He's running around. That's why I look like this.
Late in the pandemic puppy.
Yeah. I don't know where'd he go. Oh, he's right under the table. I was talking about titles.
Yeah.
The title will lead me to the story.
Yeah.
I have, I have a title, a Goosebumps book that's coming out called Judy and the Beast.
Yeah, it's a good
title, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. And it leads you to what the story is going to be. It's going to be Beauty and the Beast, only with kids, and a girl is in this thing, and someone's a beast, and you don't know who.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I guess I'm backwards for most authors.
Yeah.
Authors get the title later on.
At least from me. Recently, I took a stab at writing my first scary stories book. It's called Raleigh Jefferson's
I
Awesome
love that book.
Spooky Stories. Thank you very much.
No,
But it was a real challenge for me to be both funny and scary. And I was wondering, what are your guiding principles for writing horror for kids? Because you're not Stephen King. You're not writing horror for adults.
Yeah, we don't really want to terrify them.
Right.
Yeah.
So are there some guidelines that you follow to make sure you're
I have one guideline.
Yeah.
This one. The kids have to know it couldn't happen.
Interesting. The readers have to know.
Yeah, the reader has to know it couldn't happen. And it's a fantasy.
Yeah.
And if the reader knows that, you can get pretty scary.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Once you get pretty scary, but they have to they have to know there's no way this could happen.
Yeah.
Plot, most of my plots are absurd.
Right.
And that's, deliberately absurd.
Right. But I read that you don't really get scared like the rest of us.
There's something wrong with me. There's something missing in my brain or something. I love Stephen King books. I read these scary novels and go to horror movies, and they make me laugh.
Right.
I'm always the one in the theater who's laughing.
That must be the magic that allows you to write horror for kids. But how do you know how to instill fear in your readers if you haven't experienced it yourself?
Well, partly I was a very fearful child and afraid of a lot of things, and I do have memories of that kind of fear. I can bring that up.
Yeah, interesting.
But you learn techniques. You learn how to do it while you're writing these things. You learn how to be scary, how to put in some shock.
Yeah,
want to scare kids. Yeah. How to set it in a dark basement. Yeah. There's something in the closet. We all have the same fears. People always say, well, how have kids changed in all the years you've been writing? It must be very different. Well, it isn't. Yeah. Because we're all afraid of the dark, afraid something's under our bed, something lurking that never changes. I think Goosebumps could have been written in the 1950s when I was a kid.
That's interesting. Yeah, they're timeless. They really are.
I think so. It's just, of course, the technology. It ruins everything.
Right.
Cell phones ruin every story.
Yeah. You can't have a book about a kid looking down at his phone. It's not going to be very interesting.
Also, it ruins every mystery. They're trapped. 5 teens are trapped in a cabin. One of them is a murderer. They pick up their phone. They call for help. The story's over. Right?
Well, you can write your stories a lot faster if you had cell phones.
You have to get. I know. The girl's getting frightening phone calls. Who is it? Who's calling her? She looks on the phone. She sees who it is. Your book's over. So I have to get rid of the phones immediately.
Right. So we actually have one other intersection. Is that we filmed the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies in Vancouver about 10 years ago. Right. And when the actors wrapped up, a few of them went straight on to another production, also filming in Vancouver at the same time.
The Haunting Hour.
That's right. Your stuff, your series. So it was pretty cool that a few of the major characters in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie went right on to the Haunting Hour. So that was pretty cool.
Both of my shows were filmed in Canada.
Yeah.
The Goosebumps show was filmed in Toronto. Yeah. At an old Molson's brewery.
Oh, really?
Where they filmed Goosebumps, and I think we used every kid in Canada. Every kid in Canada was on the show. Yeah. Ryan Gosling, 12 years old. He's in Say Cheese and Die. We used everyone, and partly there were no child labor laws in Canada. Yeah.
Okay.
So you could work them all night.
I want to impress you with my Goosebumps knowledge. Save Cheese and Die was a book where you had skeletons having a barbecue on the front cover. And it was the one cover that didn't really make sense for the story. Is this true?
Yes. Listen, Tim Jacobus was amazing. He did maybe the first 100 Goosebumps covers he painted. Yeah. And I'd be writing the book while he was doing the cover. So he never got the whole book. He'd get a few paragraphs from me about what to cover. That was the only one that had nothing to do with the book. And they called me up, my editors called me, and they said, Bob, you have to add a scene of skeletons barbecuing in your book because Tim can't change his painting. Right? So the artist can never change. You have to do it, right? So I added a dream sequence.
Yeah.
The boys having a dream of skeletons barbecuing. And then it made sense.
That's hilarious. All right, Bob, we are going to...
Why can't I ask you a few questions?
Oh, you could, but there's
come on.
Everybody's tuned in for
I
you.
don't never get to talk to you.
All right, I'll give you 3 minutes for questions.
3? No, give me 5.
Okay, 5.
No, but Jeff, when did you know you were funny?
You know, I wasn't really a funny kid. Actually, you know what? In the fifth grade, I had a teacher. I tried to be funny. And I had a teacher, she was sort of like a matronly woman. She was probably about 61 years old. I think she was from England. And she noticed that I was trying to be funny. And what she did was she challenged me. She would teach me little things about comedy, of how I could improve my comedy. And it was the first time anybody noticed I was interested in that as a craft.
Right.
So that's, it wasn't me who noticed, it was somebody else.
Fifth grade, you got funny.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you were a comic book guy, right?
I was there's only one comic book I liked, which was Donald Duck and Uncle Scrooge by Carl Barks.
Yeah.
Once I read that, I had no interest in
those
other
were amazing. But you didn't do other comics. Didn't you want to draw comics?
Comic strips, absolutely. Yeah. I love Charles Schultz and Bill Watterson, who did Calvin and Hobbes, Far Side by Gary Larson. I knew when I was in high school that that's what I wanted to be. That was my big dream.
See, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to draw comic books, and I can't draw a thing.
Yeah.
I can't draw anything. That's what, if I could draw, why would I write?
Did you get any encouragement from your friends at school, teachers?
I did little comic books.
Yeah.
It was like a craze in 5th grade.
Yeah.
I did little comic books. I had a superhero called Super Stooge.
Okay.
He was the worst superhero in the world.
Yeah.
I'd bring in my comics and they would say, you suck. Drawings are horrible. And the teachers, Bob, please don't bring these in. People always say, did your teachers encourage you?
Yeah.
I said, no, they begged me to stop. Honestly, they did. Bob, please stop doing this. And I think if they didn't beg me to stop, I might have stopped.
Right.
Right?
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, Bob, can we go into...
That's all my time?
That's all your time, yeah. This is the R.L. Stine show.
Sometimes we have to do this and we have to chat.
Yes. Over a beer or something. I'm in for that.
Yeah, definitely. No, I'll come up there.
All right, good. I'm not so far away. So we just have so many questions piled up in the Ask Question section. We have to hear from kids and maybe some of your old-time readers who are going to tell you that you were their childhood. So Cassie, why don't you pick out a question and we'll hear the voice of Cassie here.
Yeah, if she wants to moderate, that's great.
Yeah.
All right, this one is the most upvoted question. What did you think about Jack Black portraying you in the Goosebumps movies?
I thought Jack and I are like twins, right? It's an amazing choice. He was wonderful. I love Jack. I thought he was a little too mean in the beginning of the first movie. He threw away that kid's cell phone. I thought he was too. I wouldn't do that. But I thought he's hilarious and a wonderful person. I would tell you a nice thing about Jack. We filmed in Atlanta, where everything is filmed now, and he flew home every weekend to LA to see his kids. Every single weekend. So he's a good dad too.
That's really cool.
We had a lot of fun. He flew in. He had just been chosen to be me, and he flew into New York in a blizzard, and we had lunch. And he was just like staring. He was watching, looking at me. And he said, "Bob, what about you is true in the script from the movie?" And I said, "Not a single thing. None of it. It's not true." He said, I'm going to play a sinister version of you. And that's what he did.
Yeah.
We had a great time. He's terrific.
Yeah, you were really lucky. You got some really good movies out of this.
How lucky is that?
Yeah, it really is.
You know, people always say, how much input did you have in the Goosebumps movie? Well, none. No one wants the author around.
Right.
They're the last person they want to see.
That is absolutely true.
Yeah, and I got so lucky. Both movies turned out to be good.
Really good.
They could have been horrible.
Yes.
You never know what you're going to get. I've been lucky with television, too. There's the Goosebumps show and the Haunting Hour, the Nightmare Room. All 3 shows I'm very proud of.
All right. Cassie, we have another question.
This next one is from Chad. Bob, people collect your books. Do you have any collections?
I collect Garbage Pail Kids cards. Now, I collect those now. I collect, see, this won't be interesting to you. I collect P.G. Wodehouse novels. You have to be 80 to know P.G. Wodehouse, but he wrote 90 really funny novels, and I collect his books. And I collect Agatha Christie novels. I collect a lot of mystery novels. But, you know, I live in an apartment here, you can see, in New York City. And when you live in an apartment, you really can't be a collector. There's no room. You don't really have room. It's not like your studio, Jeff.
Right.
It's not spacious like your studio.
I've got a Scrooge McDuck statue over here. So.
Oh, show them. Your studios just knocked me out.
Oh, thank you. That's really cool.
It's unbelievable.
Thank you very much.
Charlie said you're like Willy Wonka.
Well, Charlie, we talked about him a moment ago. He's our mutual editor. And if you say that you can't be a collector and live in New York City, you have to see his apartment. It is a warren of books.
Oh, I've never seen. No, I don't
know.
Toys,
everything. It's crazy.
I don't know.
I
collect old radios. I could turn this around and show you. I have radios from the 30s and 40s. I love radio.
I see a little one right there.
Yeah, you can see a little bit. I don't want to move it. But, I was being interviewed. This is not relevant to anything, by a very young reporter from the Wall Street Journal. Very young woman. And she walked into my office and she saw them and she said, "Oh, so that's what radio looks like." I said, "I'm sorry, you'll have to leave." No, she'd never seen a radio. What?
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
Cassie, give us another question.
This one is from Rodrigo. What's your favorite horror movie?
There's an old movie from 1933. It's called Island of Lost Souls. And it's Charles Laughton and Bela Lugosi. It's a terrifying film. Island of Lost Souls. It's Dr. Moreau. And this doctor is on this island trying to turn animals into humans, experimenting. And his experiments are horrible. They don't go right. And he creates these awful creatures. And when this movie came out in the 1930s, it was so upsetting to people, they threw up in their seats. That's how horrifying it was. And it's still great. I would totally recommend it.
That's cool. Cassie, let's do one more question, and then I want to do something that's tricky that we might be able to pull off.
Sure. This is a long one. It's from Joshua. If you could exist in any book that you've ever read, in the story where the characters and the places have no risk of being hurt or killed, and you're the only one who knew it was a story, which story would you choose?
No, that's impossible. A book that I wrote? I wouldn't want to be in any of them. Believe me, I'd be running. I can't think. I won't be able to come up with something. It's a wonderful question.
It was very complex. Cassie,
that's hard.
Let's try something. It would be nice to see a face that is not one of ours, Bob. So how about if we try to pull in a kid or any type of fan, legacy fan,
I love it.
kid,
I love it.
grandkids. And let's see if somebody has a question. So Cassie, you see the questions in the ask a question thing. Let's see if we can pull somebody in. And for anybody that gets pulled in, you're going to get a message on your screen that said, do you give permission? And you have to say okay, and then you have to say okay again. So don't panic and click cancel or deny, because then you won't get in. So we'll give this a second, and we'll see if anybody comes.
Nice idea. That's nice, Jeff.
Yeah, we'll see if it works. Sometimes these things work, and sometimes.
Well, I miss seeing the kids.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I gave my talk a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
For the Canton, Ohio Library.
Yeah.
And there's a kid.
There's a real kid.
So you give your talk and there's no laughing.
Right. Yeah.
On Zoom. Hi. How are you? Who are you?
I'm Romeo.
Say it louder.
I'm Romeo.
Romeo.
Yeah.
Okay. And Romeo, do you have a question for?
Oh, nice name.
I have a question. I have a question for Jeff Kinney.
Nice. Nice. I'm gonna go take a nap.
What's your question, Romeo? What was it like reading Bob Stine?
I want to know how you write your books. Like what do you start at?
Yeah. Okay, that's a really good question. How do I write them? Well, first of all, I lay in a hammock, right? Or I drive to the cemetery. One of those two things, right? And I just come up with a topic. Like, let's say I'm writing about sports right now. I'll take sports and I'll list all the things about sports. Shin guards, bathing caps for swimmers, soccer balls, air pumps, everything, right? Everything I can think of. And then I'll just come up with jokes about those things. And once I have enough jokes, I start writing my book. So great question. And Bob, can I ask you, what does it look like when you're working on a book? You're just sitting in front of the typewriter, laying in bed? How do you do it?
Typewriter. Don't say typewriter. I'm told because of the Goosebumps movies and Jack Black working on a typewriter, writing I've sold more typewriters than any author in America. Every tweet, my son wants to write like you. Where can I buy a good typewriter? I don't use a typewriter. I feel terrible. All these people buying typewriters.
A few years ago, Romeo, I bought a typewriter because I thought that maybe I was writing too slow because I kept editing and changing and changing. I was like, if I just write, maybe I'll write faster. And I used it for about 8 seconds, and now it's just a piece of plastic in the corner.
It goes in a museum.
Yeah.
You can't revise. How did we ever revise? I wrote maybe 100 books on a typewriter.
Wow.
And how did we ever revise?
Romeo, great question.
Big desktop.
Great question. We're going to say goodbye and try to pull in somebody else. Let's try.
Nice, thanks.
Yeah, we'll do another one. Hopefully, Cassie, you'll pick somebody who has a question for Mr. Stine.
That's okay. It's all right.
But thank you, Romeo.
I've talked more than enough.
He made me feel good, so that's cool. All right, Cassie, do we have anyone coming in? You were saying, Bob, that you were giving a presentation and you weren't getting that feedback.
Well, on Zoom, I had a nice audience, and I did my talk. I told a ghost story. I had a talk.
Yeah.
But there's no reaction on Zoom.
Right.
You're just there. There's no applause. No one asks your story.
Yeah.
There's no laughing. That's hard. It's really hard. I really miss getting out and getting to stores and seeing kids. I'm the one who likes it. Well, you do too. Most authors hate it. Yeah.
You know what we're doing now is that I'll dress up like a grave digger and hand kids their book on a shovel when they go by in their car. That's what a book signing looks like.
That's as close as you get to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you went out at least. You've been places.
I have. Yeah, I've done 3 tours in the pandemic so far. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's just amazing.
Yeah.
Also, I have to say, someone told me that I was complaining about having to sign books and sign plates.
Yeah.
Someone told me, because they asked me to sign 3,000.
Yeah.
But someone told me you signed 40,000. Is that true?
I think they were just trying to get you to sign more book plates, actually.
Oh, not true.
No, actually, one time I signed 50,000.
How?
50,000
How?
over a week. So it took me a while, but it killed me.
Wow, in a week, 50,000?
Yeah, it was terrible. Not fun at all. I'll never do that again.
Jeff, I'm so impressed.
Cassie, can we get one more kid in here, you think?
What do you think?
They're accepting, but depending on the device, they might have issues connecting.
Sometimes it takes a minute. So let's just,
Okay,
I'm going to ask you.
questions. More questions?
Yeah, we can do
Here's
that.
one.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello, I'm a big
But
fan
you're
of both of
sleeping
your
quiet.
books. I have a question for
Boy,
Earl
leave him
Stein.
alone. He's peeing.
Uh-oh.
I got puppy training here. Hi.
Go
Good,
ahead and start over, bud. Sorry about that.
good boy.
I have a question for
Nice.
Earl Stein with his
Yeah.
peeing dog.
Hi, I'll be right there.
He'll be right back in the screen. Okay.
Hi.
Doggy.
There.
Aw.
Lucky. He's lucky.
Cute.
Yeah. Oh, he's a good boy.
All right. And what's your question?
I wanted to ask why your chapters always ended on like short cliffhangers. They're not like real cliffhangers, but like they're kind of short, and they don't really lead up to
There's a
much.
little shock, right, at the end
Yeah.
of every chapter. That's to
Yeah.
make you
And
read.
then when you turn the page, it's just like lightning or something.
Yeah, all right. That's the idea. Then you say, "Oh, I'll read one more chapter. I have to read one
Yeah.
more." Then you get to the
Yeah.
chapter.
Yeah, when I read your books, when it's like a school night, I'd always see the cliffhanger is like, I'm just gonna read one more chapter, see what happens.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's what I do. I put a little shock at the end of every single chapter, a little cliffhanger to keep you going,
Yeah.
to
That's
keep
a good
them reading.
question.
Yeah, it's
Very
good.
perceptive.
I need some of your hair.
So,
I need, so if you could part with
Yeah.
some of that hair,
My
I'd be
friend,
very
it like grows like this, and you can't even see his eyes.
really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That looks great.
Yeah, we both have hair envy.
Hair is not my favorite topic, hair.
Yeah, I love both you guys' books. Thank you for
Thank you very much. Great
I've
question.
met you
Oh.
3 times, and I only got 1 question answered
Oh, no.
off of that.
And now here you are.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
In a pandemic. That's cool, man.
Yeah, great to
Yeah.
see you.
All right. And Cassie, we'll try to, how about if we get one more? Should we roll the dice and get one more kid in here?
Sure.
And I'm going to ask Bob. Bob, when the world opens up, what are you fully? What are you looking forward to doing the most?
Traveling,
Yeah.
mainly.
Do you like to travel overseas?
Yeah, well, we have good friends in London. Of course, we can't go and haven't seen them. So
Yeah.
I look forward to that.
Yeah.
And I'm very lucky. We have a house in Sag Harbor, Long Island, and we have an enormous swimming pool. It's sort of like a water park. So
Yeah.
I'm going there a lockdown hasn't been that painful for us. And
Yeah.
of course, we're home all the time anyway. It wasn't a major life change.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just home all day writing.
My probing question is, when was the last time you rode the water slide? In your backyard?
I hate water slide. Hey, hi. I hate water
Oh.
slide. I go every 5 years.
Great.
I do it every 5 years. Everyone else loves it.
All right. Who is this?
I'm Baylor.
Nice to meet
Hey,
you.
how you doing?
Good. I've got a question for Mr. Stine.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you were to put Curly the skeleton into a book, would he have a conscience or not?
Curly is a skeleton. Skeletons don't. Curly's never been in a book. It was that Curly was a character, a skeleton. He's just to sell shoes and things. Curly was used for advertising and things like that. Why are you interested in Curly?
Well, I don't know. I saw him somewhere, and I was like, if he were in a book,
Yeah.
would he be like Slappy and be able to talk and walk and say
Oh,
things?
we could do that, right? We could make that up. We could do that. But I don't know. I've never used him in a book. Do you think he'd be evil, or do you think he could be nice?
I think
hard to
he'd be
tell. You do?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
An interesting question.
And are you a friend? Are you a fan? It's Baylor. Are you a fan of Slappy?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you are. Are you slightly terrified of him?
No,
No.
he's a hunk of wood.
Yeah. Do you think that when you go in your bathroom tonight, don't pull back the shower curtains because he might just be sitting there on the soap dish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Baylor. And Bob, we are at the end of our 50 minutes. So I just want to say thank you so much for doing this. I hope you connected so many kids who are tuned in to you tonight to watch. You made a lot of people happy. You're making a lot of people laugh with your books, especially
so I hope they enjoy it. I do.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed talking with you. This was great. We should do this next week.
with no audience. Absolutely.
That was really fun.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you all.
Before you log off, I just wanted to say someone just messaged us on Instagram about 20 minutes ago and said that when R.L. Stine came on screen, her 9-year-old son started crying out of pure excitement.
Crying. Well, that's a real downer. Why was he putting it in crying?
He was so happy to see you.
No, I don't look that bad. That's very sweet. That's very sweet.
Well, thank you so much, Bob. Thank you, Cassie, for hosting. And remember, everybody, if you want the book with the signed book plate by R.L. Stine, please click below on the green button. Thank you again, Bob, and I can't wait to see you next in person.
That would be great.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you both.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Bye-bye.